I have taken this sip of water. Like it or not, it has a process. From the time it gets into my body till the time it finds its way out of my body. That process is called digestion. One of the most intriguing and most interesting topics in biology. Coming up is a teacher using digital science and virtual lab explaining the movement of foods and drinks, colors of the organs, and their general uses from the mouth, through the intestines, through the anus.
Once again, you're welcome to this biology class. My name is Lydia Karuru, and I'm going to be your biology teacher today. We are going to look at a topic. This is an S2 topic, and that is nutrition. And particularly, we'll be looking at nutrition in animals. This takes different forms. However, we are going to narrow it down to the process of digestion in man. Well, digestion is simply the process by which food is broken down from larger particles into simpler soluble particles that can be ready for absorption. The alimentary canal itself starts from the mouth, and it is a long tube that stretches to the anus. We again are privileged to be able to use digital science, and because of this, we will be able to easily see the alimentary canal as opposed to the old system of only using chalk and the board and drawing lines, and you can't really imagine what the digestive system looks like. So today, we are going to be looking at this digestion, but using digital science. Let's go look at, yes, this clip. You can all see, and I see that your face is lighting up. This is the structure of actually the mouth and what takes place inside. I said that the alimentary canal starts from the mouth and it stretches to the anus. But in between, we are going to see that digestion goes on taking place at different points. Let's start and see what takes place right in the mouth. When you put food in your mouth, there are two forms of digestion that take place. We have physical digestion, sometimes we call it mechanical digestion, and we also have chemical digestion that involves enzymes. Well, looking at physical digestion, it is the teeth that cut the food, chew it over and over, breaking it into simpler particles that can easily be swallowed. That is physical digestion. In chemical digestion, we involve enzymes. How does this happen? Look at this again. Look at the brown structures. Look at the brown structures that look like bags. I want you to properly look at the brown structures. One is up, they look like small sacs. One is up. Let me stretching it down. There are two structures, and these are glands. Now, these glands have a role. When food is placed in the mouth, or when you smell food and smells nice, or when you even just look at it and it's very appealing, the salivary glands secrete saliva. This saliva has a role in the process of digestion, and this is the start of chemical digestion. One, the saliva moistens the food, so that even when you have eaten crunchy and hard things like crisps, they are going to be moistened by the use of this saliva before you swallow them. And then this saliva dissolves some food particles like glucose. Still, saliva contains a substance known as mucin. This mucin provides the glue that holds the food particles together, so that by the time you swallow the food, it is swallowed in small pieces of balls, as we are going to see later. But then, before the food is swallowed, we said chemical digestion involves use of enzymes. This enzyme that is in the mouth is salivary amylase, and this enzyme breaks down starch to glucose. Now this food, which has been converted, if it was starch, it has been broken slightly into maltose, is now ready to be swallowed. But the tongue has a role to play. The tongue rolls the food that has been softened and is able to be glued together into small balls. These balls are known as a bolus. Thanks to digital science, let's look at this clip showing how the food is going to be formed into a bolus and how the bolus is going to move from the mouth. Look at the bolus moving down through the throat or through the esophagus. It is moving down, and this process, let me pause it here. As the food moves down the esophagus, every part the bolus reaches widens a bit, and after the food particle has moved, that place goes back into position. So those movements by which the bolus is moving down the esophagus that process is known as peristalsis. Then just before this bolus reaches the next part where digestion will continue, and that is the stomach, there is a sphincter. That sphincter is a regulator, and that is the gastric sphincter. It opens and closes, allowing food to be released in small bits into the stomach until the stomach is full. That's when you get that feeling of being satisfied. Once the food has reached the stomach, well, I said digital science is here to make our lives as easy as possible while we are looking at this process of digestion. Food is now in the stomach. So what happens? The stomach is a J-shaped sac which collects food, but only proteins are going to be digested at this part. Now, this food that has come from the mouth, once it reaches the stomach, it is in a semi-solid state. So again, we have physical digestion and chemical digestion taking place in the stomach. What do we have in physical digestion? Once the food touches the stomach walls begin to move. We call this process churning. They beat about the food until the food turns into a semi-liquid state. That will be now called chyme. But also, we have said there will be chemical digestion in the stomach. And the food that has come from the mouth was digested in alkaline medium of about 6.5 to 7 pH. But in the stomach, the pH has to be acidic. So this is what we have in our chemical digestion. In the stomach, when the food touches the walls of the stomach, that sensation causes production of a hormone known as gastrin. This hormone gastrin is going to stimulate secretion of gastric juice. This wonderful juice has the substances that are going to cause digestion in the stomach. It has about 4 important substances. One of them is dilute hydrochloric acid, which is going to convert the alkaline medium with which food came from the mouth into acidic medium of pH 2. That provides that good acidic medium, which is good for those enzymes of the stomach to work. But then there is also mucus in this gastric juice. The role of mucus is to line the stomach walls. Because the stomach walls are made up of flesh, and we have said proteins are digested in the stomach, it is easy for these enzymes to begin digesting the stomach walls. So this mucus has to first line the stomach walls to protect them from enzymatic action. Then we only have 2 enzymes that are going to be involved in the digestion of proteins in the stomach. These 2 enzymes are pepsin, which breaks down proteins to peptides. Then we have enzyme renin, which is responsible for conversion of soluble milk protein into insoluble protein. We call that insoluble milk protein carcinogen. So it is converted to casein, which is insoluble. That is what takes place in the stomach. And really, if you are eating food now, you know where it has reached. Our next point of digestion is the small intestines. The small intestines, as we are going to see, is a long tube. However, it can be separated into two portions. The upper part being the duodenum. Let's look at it here. There, the duodenum is. And then the lower part, which is more coiled and very long, that is the ileum. Let's look at it there. Wonderful. Thanks to digital science. We said everything is easy. Just imagine how this could just be in class. You're busy looking at lines, not seeing really how the intestines are made. So now we go back to looking at the duodenum. When food reaches the duodenum, again, presence of food in that part of the alimentary canal stimulates production of a hormone known as secretin. This secretin is going to stimulate the gallbladder and the pancreas to produce two kinds of juices. One of them, the gallbladder will secrete bile juice. Then the pancreas will secrete pancreatic juice. They both have a role in the digestion of this food that has come from the stomach. Bile simply contains salts. It has two forms of salts. We have inorganic salts such as sodium hydrogen carbonate, and the role of the inorganic salts is to just convert the acidic pH with which food has come from the stomach into alkaline pH, that is the pH that is conducive for digestion in the small intestines. This pH should range between 7 to 8. So sodium hydrogen carbonate ensures that. Then the organic salts are responsible for emulsification of lipids by breaking down the lipids into small or tiny droplets, and that increases the surface area for enzyme action. Digestion in the duodenum involves the secretion of two juices. This juice, one of them is the bile that comes from the gallbladder. Here is the gallbladder. It is found in the liver. So the gallbladder secretes bile, which moves down. We can see how it is moving, and it is poured into the duodenum. But then the other juice, which is pancreatic juice, actually comes from the pancreas. And we can see here's the pancreas, and the pancreatic juice moves like that. It is poured there onto the food. Bile contains two salts. One is inorganic, the other salt is organic. The inorganic salt, which is actually sodium hydrogen carbonate, plays the role of ensuring the right pH. The acidic food which has come from the stomach has to be converted into alkaline medium for the enzymes in the duodenum to act on that food. Sodium hydrogen carbonate ensures that. Then the organic salt is for emulsification of lipids by breaking them down into small droplets that provides a large surface area for enzyme action. That is the role of bile. Now, remember we said that the pancreas also secretes a juice. That pancreatic juice actually contains the enzymes that carry out digestion at this point. Pancreatic juice contains about 3 enzymes. One of them is trypsin that breaks down proteins into peptides or peptides into polypeptides. Then we have pancreatic amylase, which continues breaking down starch into maltose. Remember, food takes a short time in the mouth, so more starch has been swallowed and it has to be converted at this point. Those are two. Then we have pancreatic lipase, which breaks down the lipids, those are the fats and oils that you have eaten, into fatty acids and glycerol. But also pancreatic juice contains sodium hydrogen carbonate to maintain the pH medium, which is 7 to 8. That is conducive for those enzymes to work. Oh, thanks to our digital science, we have seen what happens in the duodenum. But remember, I told you that the small intestines involve the duodenum and the more coiled part, which is the ileum. Since we have looked at digestion in the duodenum, we now move down. Move down with me, and we move to the lower part, which is very coiled, and that is the ileum. A little digestion will take place at this part. Most of it in this part will be absorption. There are about 4 enzymes that will be produced here to complete digestion. One of them is erepsin. Erepsin will complete the digestion of what was proteins that is now polypeptides. So erepsin digests polypeptides into amino acids ready for absorption. Then what was maltose is now broken down by enzyme maltase into glucose. What was eaten in the form of milk, sugar that is in milk, that is called lactose, will be broken down by enzyme lactase into glucose and galactose. Then we have sugar that comes from substances like sugarcane. That kind of sugar will be broken down by enzyme sucrase from sucrose into glucose and fructose. That is actually what happens there, and we can say that really breaking down of food and converting it into simpler substances. Well, we have said that after our wonderful food has been digested into soluble particles that are ready for absorption, wow, the food will be absorbed in the ileum. The ileum has special adaptations that enable it to absorb this food. And thanks to digital science, in class, without digital science, the teacher will tell you that one of these adaptations is that the ileum has finger-like projections. And for me, as a student, I kept wondering, how are they like my 5 fingers? Then how is the food absorbed? But here I take you to see the wonderful surface of the ileum. Here, food, which is now in form of glucose, which is now in form of amino acids. The proteins that you ate comes into the ileum and is going to get absorbed. The adaptations, remember, the walls of the small intestines are made into a certain form, which is like fingers. And these are the finger-like structures, the ones that we call villus. Each of them provides a wide surface area for the food to be absorbed. And apart from that, it has certain structures inside it. You can clearly see. Let's look at them very closely. You can see that each villus has got a vein, it has got an artery, and inside it is a lacteal. The blood vessels, the vein and artery, enable food to be absorbed and get transported to all parts of the body, so that the proteins can cause you to grow, the carbohydrates or glucose can cause you to have energy, like that. Then the lipids are transported in the lacteal. Wonderful. Thanks to digital science, we can see the things clearly. They're in different color, which is not possible when we are drawing on the blackboard. Again, let's go back and look at the ileum. One of the other adaptations is that the ileum is highly coiled. Let's really take it back and we look at the coiled nature of the ileum. You'll see that it is very long and coiled, and that increases the surface area for absorption of this food. It can take time moving down the ileum, and slowly food will be absorbed until everything that you need for your body has been taken up. Remember, that's not the end of digestion. Whatever has failed to get absorbed is actually passed out when you get permission to go for a long call. That is the beauty of digital science. Everything very clear. This can be readily available for you at Cyber School at Lugogo Showgrounds. Thank you very much for being part of this biology lesson. See you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. I hope you learned a few things about the show. If you're a teacher, you'll appreciate the use of digital science and virtual lab. And if you're a student, learning is made simple and it's fun. Now remember, the show is Digital Science for you. Digital Science and Virtual Lab is a software located via Cyber School Technology Solutions via Uma Showgrounds, Lugogo. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, CSTSUG. Till next time, allow me to enjoy my coffee.